Hello guys and dolls, welcome back to Honey Badger 3D Print and Paint. Today we have the Don, the Daddy, the big boy, the Phrozen Mega 8K. This is an absolutely amazing machine, but before we get started, roll those credits. So, just so that we can get started, Phrozen did send us this machine for review. You will see the paid promotion tag up in the top corner. They did not pay for the review. The opinions expressed within it are our own, but they did send us this machine for free for review purposes. So, with that out of the way, let's dive in. The Phrozen Mega 8K is one of the largest consumer grade resin printers that you can buy on the market right now. Let me be clear about what I mean about consumer grade. When I say consumer grade, I mean anything sub £4,000. Anything above £4,000 and you're getting into something that needs to be a return on investment, which, to be clear, this could absolutely be for you. But I am thinking of what a normal person could afford to go out and buy if they wanted the biggest and the best. While we're talking about price, let me just pull up the website. Right now, the Mega 8K is $2,199 US, and there is currently an offer on the website, $199 shipping. That shipping does include your import tax, because we did not have to pay any import tax on this. There is about a 1 to 2 week lead time to get a machine, but this is so worth it. Let's just talk about some of the specs. So the print volume on this, which everybody, it's huge, right? It's a 15-inch panel. It's 330 millimeters by 185 millimeters by 400 millimeters on the Z. What that means is that providing you have a regular sized head, you can print a full size helmet, wearable full size helmet on this machine with no join lines. That's absolutely huge. The closest thing that we have to this is the M3 Max, and the print quality that we get out of this machine is unrivaled. So we have already started printing and painting models like this Samurai from CA Sculpts. We have done some big stuff, we've done some medium stuff, and we've done some more normal size sort of miniatures, as well as sort of this larger piece here. Almost all of this was printed in Sunlose resin. We have printed with the 8K resin as well. That's what half of this mask is actually made out of. And as well, this Samurai was using the 8K resin as well. The 8K resin is great for really, really fine detail work. I'll give you a quick look around the Samurai in a bit. You can see just some of this incredible detail around all of the sort of the flocking where all of the tree is, and as well just the detail that goes throughout this piece is just next level. The same again with this Anubis statue. This is from Archvillain Games, and as are these three little ones here. We printed some of these before when we did the review of the Uniformation GK2, and we thought we'd print them again. They're a really good example of how fine a detail you can get out when you're printing in 8K. I think a lot of people might be concerned that by going up to a machine of this size, you're starting to really spread the pixels out. Once you're spreading the pixels out, you start to get concerned about detail retention. These show you that you do not need to be concerned about that whatsoever. The details in these prints are absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Let's just go through some of the other stuff that is in this machine. So obviously it's a 15-inch panel. There is a 5-inch touch panel on the front. It's all run by Phrozen's own OS. There's an Ethernet port in the back for network connectivity. The power cord is at the back, as is the on button, which is a little annoying, but the USB port is at the front, and that's absolutely amazing. When you open this machine up, the panel's completely open, giving you complete access to the inside of your print, meaning that you can unscrew those, you can unscrew your VAT screws nice and easily, you can remove that build plate nice and easily. It's astonishing how much difference it makes. What it does mean for your workflow is that if you have multiples of these machines, you need to leave a machine's width in between each of the machines that you have so that you could open both doors at the same time. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you've got racking and you've bought multiples of these to increase the amount of sort of workspace you have or whatever, the narrowest you could go would be half of the machine's width again, so that you could open one door at a time, and then you'd be able to make that work. Phrozen also have recently brought out a large wash and cure station. I highly recommend you go and check that out, because curing prints at this size is difficult. So we actually have a curing cupboard. We have a kitchen cabinet that we have lined with tin foil, and we have basically run a bunch of UV LED strip all around so that we can cure multiple prints at once. Curing something like this fills our whole cupboard up. So we may even have to look at a different way of doing that. And when it came to washing this, the only choice we had was to wash this in a bucket. We had a bucket of IPA that we had to wash it in. It's still not fully washed properly, and it will need to go through again. There's still a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done on this because of how heavy this model is. It needed some sort of quite heavy duty supports to mean it didn't tear itself off of the build plate, but we'll take a look at those prints in a second. As I say, a lot of these prints were done in Sunlose resin. This was done in the 8K resin, and again, it has come out absolutely amazingly. What I will say is that when you look at the small models that we've done, are all done in Sunlose regular basic grey resin, and I think you'll agree that the detail that's in them is still stunning. Like, you don't need to have the 8K resin for this to perform the way that you need it to. You can capture all of the details, all of the fine details that are in these prints. You can capture all of that with regular resin. The 8K just kind of turns it up to 11. We're going to do a separate video on a comparison between something printed in 8K resin and something printed in normal Sunlose resin, so that you can see how much sharper some of those parts are. But it's absolutely fine to use regular resin with this. You don't have to use the 8K. Now, as I said earlier, this machine is easily the most affordable 8K resin printer of its size. There are very few other machines that can match it in features, size, space and price. So the closest to this in price is the Phenom L. It's £2,899, so roughly around $3,000, so around $900 more than this, and that's only 4K, and this is 8K. Once you get to panels of this size, that resolution makes a big difference between the quality that you're trying to turn out, right? And again, to be clear, this is cheaper And the Phenom L doesn't have that ease of access. It doesn't have Ethernet, and it's just a Qi2 box board with Qi2 OS on it. It's nothing impressive. This, on the other hand, this is the Don. This is, if you want to have the best consumer grade resin printer, this is what you go out and buy. I said on a previous video when we were reviewing the Jaish NC Pegasus that machine was what made me fall in love with resin printing again. Prior to that, we'd had we'd had first generation stuff. So we'd had Anycubic, sort of tiny little machines. And I did not enjoy using resin at all. It was frustrating, it was messy, it just took so much extra work, there was extra parts that you needed, and what you got at the end wasn't that amazing anyway, because the original Anycubic machines were like 1080p screens. They weren't even monochrome when we first started. Where we've come to in just a few short years is mind-blowing to me. The fact that this machine or machines like it cost under £5,000 is baffling. You just got to think about the sheer size of what you're getting. This is all metal. I'm amazed at where we've got to in such a short space of time. Build plate. So the build plate is a perforated build plate. So it comes factory level, so you don't have to touch anything. It also comes factory Z offset as well. So you don't have to touch any of that stuff. You get it out of the box, you pour resin in, off you start printing. So really impressive from that perspective. The unboxing video, which I'll pop in the video description, will show you just how easy it was for us to get it up and running. We did have a little bit of an issue to begin with. We were using the 8K resin in the opening video, and we had a print failure. Whenever you have a print failure in resin, it's kind of an arse to go through and correct it. You obviously have to drain out the resin vat, which you have to filter. You have to get out any of the fragments that are in the base of the that are still in the vat, throw those away, and then start all over again. Failures in resin printing are inevitable. They are annoying, they are messy. Since we did that video, we haven't had any other failures with this, and the reason for the failure, unsurprisingly, was us. So we were using a standard grey resin profile that was available in Qi2 box. This is not standard grey, this is 8K grey. The burning layers have to go up to 40-second burning layers, and then you have to go up to 2.8 seconds in cure time. Then went through and we put in a Kuma Mods profile. So please go and check out their YouTube channel. They've got loads of great videos on resin printing. Akuma Mods and Matt Farmer have been resin printing for far, far longer than we have. He also has a Mega 8K. He also has the wash and cure station, which I highly recommend you go and check out as well. But he has done a profile that is a speed profile. It cut our printing time pretty much in half. And it's all to do with that sort of, it's all to do with resting between layers and the speed that the Z moves and things like that. His profiles worked really well for us. He did also do us a speed profile when we were working with the M3 Max. Again, if you want those profiles, please reach out to him. He's constantly making changes to them, little tweaks and everything else. He has many more machines than we do. And he's always tweaking those profiles. So if you want to get the latest profile, go over to Akuma Mods. I'll drop the link in the video description, and check out his channel, and then drop him a message. He also runs 3D printing for noobs on Facebook as it's a very large Facebook group. You can absolutely reach out to him on there, and he will always do what he can to try and support the community. I actually think some of his profiles may be in the files section of that group. But what else is there to say? Not a lot, so let's get into taking a look at the quality of some of these prints. Right, so as you can see, we have some glorious stuff to look at. So let's start as we mean to go on. Let's start small and go big. So first and foremost, we have this guy. So this is one of the arch villain game models. As you can see the runes on the spider here. You can see all of the detail. The spider legs all came out. The thin feet. Amazing. We've got another spider here, which has got a, there we go, look at that. Another spider-backed Anubis here again. These are in 28mm scale, so they are small. Really fine details. Again, you can see all of the detail on the abdomen of the spider there. And then we've got one more of those where it's the spider back. This one's got a mummy's body. You can see the fingers on this, so you can see all of the detail. Really beautiful. I'll put up some pictures and close-ups of these in a minute. We have the owlbear. So this is the owlbear. Again, you can see in glorious detail all of the hairs, all of the claws. Everything came out on this, and it is stunning. Look at that. We've got a frost bear. So this one, once again, stunning fine detail. Everything came out. Even the teeth in the bear's mouth came out really nicely. The armor's all really finely done. All of the hair, everything. So then we go a little bit larger and we come on to the frost troll. So again, teeth came out on this. All of these icicles came out really beautifully. All of him in glorious 8K detail. You can see he's got an earring there. Really nice. We go up in scale again and we find ourselves at Anubis. So Anubis here, you can see, has got a feather and a heart in his scales. You can see all of the flesh detail in that. All the wing detail, everything on the scepter. It's obviously printed in multiple parts and therefore we had to use multiple bits of resin. But you can see all of the souls that are being, and these have all got sickles on them and things like that. Tiny swords. If you look here, you can see them again. All of these came out absolutely glorious detail. Everything on the Anubis here. We're going to have a crack at trying to paint this guy because I think he's just going to come out absolutely stunning. So we've got him. We'll then take a look at the masks. So these face masks, again, these have come out perfectly, even on the inside. So these ones were hollowed. You can see where the holes are for the resin to drain out. These are slightly too small for my face. I didn't scale them. I just literally put them in the original size and then went from there. But you can see absolutely beautiful quality there. And then we also have perfect quality on the Bane mask here. Again, this one printed solid and it's weighty. But I mean, all of the detail in this just came out glorious. Look at that. All this fine stippling detail and everything, really nice. Right, then we have the big guy. We have the mask. So this does fit. You can see that we had 3 resin changes in this, and the printer just absolutely ploughed through them. This was a 52-hour print. So you can see what we were talking about up here with the stippling that has come out from the surface scarring of the supports. Again, 5 minutes with some sandpaper and that'll clean right up. You've got all the detail inside the mask as well. All came out absolutely beautifully. That is a full-size cosplay mask. It only just fit in. So if I'm honest, it could have done with being 5% bigger, and it would have fitted my face much more comfortably. There was no way I could have scaled that at all. This was 100% of the build volume. So this printed like this, up this way. You can see the sheer size of that. So it printed up like this, and the width, this side to side, was as much width as you were going to be able to get. You could not fit any more on the build plate width-wise than this. And it's even wider that way, so there's no way to rotate it. So it's as big as it can be, but it is wearable on my head. It doesn't fit Mike, but it does fit me. And as you can, because Mike has, and he claims, a muscly head. So we're going to have a crack at painting that, see how that comes out. I think that'll come out really good. Again, all the details, it's picked out beautifully. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that comes out. So as you can see, the print quality of these is absolutely top notch. And to be clear, these are with stock settings, with auto supports. I went very hard on supports on this just because of the sheer weight. This helmet is solid. I did not hollow out the sides of this, so it used a lot of resin. That's why you can see the color gradient. So this is how it printed. It was this with the build plate being here. That's why you can see sort of the support surface scarring that's here. 5 minutes with some sandpaper will smooth that right out. That's literally where I had to put on heavy supports because this whole thing was pulling on the build plate and I didn't want it to do that. It was so large that we obviously started to run out of resin, so I had to top it up as we went through. So there's Sunlu resin on the top, a mixture of Sunlu and 8K resin in the middle, and then 8K resin to finish the chin. So that was obviously a bit of a miscalculation on my part. There is so many things that we're going to be printing with this. The Samurai is just one of the first major models we've done with it. You can see we've got these miniatures as well. We love the way these have come out. I'm going to really enjoy painting these face masks, and I'm going to have a go at painting this guy as well to see how that comes out. This machine opens up a lot of new possibilities for us. We're getting the rat rig working, so we'll have a 400 by 400 FDM printer, which means we'll get large bases. And then after that, we can really start to push most of our models into resin. So for torsos, hands, arms, heads, legs, and everything else, we will start doing almost all of those in resin. And you'll start to see a marked difference in the quality of what we're doing here. So the Samurai is just a prime example of where previously we had a certain level of print quality and our paint jobs were just holding us back. We've developed our painting skills quite a lot on the channel over the last few years. As a result, we're doing cool stuff and cool effects like the God of War hammer and everything else. Obviously things like the Green Goblin took us to a new level as well. We were always trying to push ourselves to do better. And print quality was what was starting to hold us back. With machines like this now, and the Bamboo Labs as well, we're no longer held back by print quality. I think, to be honest, if you looked on this, you'd actually struggle to tell the difference between some of the things that were done on the Bamboo Labs versus what was being done on the Phrozen Mega 8K. They are stunning quality, and it's going to drive us to push our paint jobs to the next level as well. So let's get to the Badger score, right? What do I score this out of 10? I'm going to give this a 9.8 out of 10. It's so close to being a perfect machine. There are a couple of things I would like to have seen. And I want to be clear that these things are personal preference for me, and they are specific to where I have my workshop, where I have my workspace, and everything like that, right? So first and foremost, when we first got this, which was only a few months ago, the wash and cure station hadn't been released yet. So we didn't have a wash and cure station that was big enough to do this. So that was a slight criticism. Not really Frozen's fault, but you know, it is what it is. The second is, personally, I'm not a massive fan of perforated build plates. I prefer etched build plates. I find that they work very well. They're much easier to remove prints from. What I will say is that when you're doing rafts, which you should be doing for everything anyway, they are anchored to that build plate. Once you've done your burning layers, they are absolutely anchored to where they're not going to move. So you're not going to have rafts ripping off of build plates. But that being said, I'm not a huge fan of them. They can be a little hard to remove prints sometimes. So if anything, the perforated build plate is sometimes a bit too effective. I would like to have seen some lights inside of this. That's, again, it's a personal preference. I like it when the inside of some of these machines lights up. I'm thinking specifically about the Magforms P13, which, watch this space, because we'll be having some conversations with them in the new year. And look, I mean, we love the way this looks. I think that some interior lights could have made a bit of a difference. When we're getting to features that I would actually like to see, either a internal heater where this just keeps the internal chamber at like 17, 18 degrees as a minimum. I would like to see that. To be clear, I'd quite like to see it as an add-on. I wouldn't like to see it as something that's included in the base machine. I'd like to see it as an add-on so that people who need it can have it, but people who don't need it don't have to pay for it. And I would like to see some level of carbon activated filter that allows for extraction. I'm thinking specifically in the way that that the GK2 implemented theirs for uniformation. I think theirs was a really clever idea. You can remove the filter from the back. It's nice and easy to use. I really like that. Other than that, this machine is as close to perfect as I could really ask it to be. I mean, the screen will last you about 20,000 hours, I think it's rated at. That's a lot of 3D printing. Bear in mind that a screen on resin printers is a consumable part, so you will need to buy spares for that. But ultimately, this machine is something that is going to radically change our overall models and our workflow. So when we did the Osriel model, almost all of him is FDM. Mainly because we didn't have any material choices. We had to use Replaflow spray to smooth out some of those layer lines to really get him where we wanted him to be. When it came to doing the Green Goblin model that we've got up here, a lot of the actual figure is done in resin. That ended up being done on our M3 Max, but we ran out of space. We would not have run out of space on this. And as a result, when we were doing the glider had to be done on our larger machines. It wouldn't fit on the Bamboo Labs for the most part. We had to cut up certain pieces. It would have been amazing if we were able to do that glider in resin as well. And to be clear, had we have had this, we would have been. There's a lot that this machine can give us that we will incorporate into models moving forwards, and you will start to see a lot more large-scale resin printing on the channel, and almost all of it will end up being done on the Phrozen. I'm actually considering redoing the Warlord Titan. It's been a particularly popular video for us. It's been a particularly popular model, and really I would like to have seen all of the panels done on the Mega 8K so that we could do a better paint job, but as well so that we can really show how those armor panels should look. So we may end up doing another version of that. There are different versions of it. Go and check out the Warlord Titan video and you can see that we've got some different weapons options and different configurations and things like that. So we may end up doing that as well. If there are things that you would like to see us do, put a comment down in the comment section and just tell us what you'd like to see, whether it's big, whether it's small, whether there's something about this particular printer that you'd like to have a conversation about or like us to try and showcase. The next video we're going to be doing is a comparison between 8K resin results and regular resin results, so that you can see how those print, and we'll also do a comparison on print settings as well. The burn-in time layer on this, on the 8K, is slightly higher, so so some of those prints will take a little bit longer, but again, that'll all go into the review, and I think that'll be really interesting. But if there's stuff you want to know, stuff you want to see, let us know, and we'll see if we can make a video about it. Okay? So, with that, guys and dolls, if you want to get your own Mega 8K, check out the link in the video description. To be clear, this is not an affiliate link. We do not get paid for the review, and we don't get paid if you go and buy a Mega 8K. Please go and buy a Mega 8K. This is the best resin printer of this size that you can buy on the market today. There isn't anything else that touches it, right? The small caveats that I have are personal preferences for me, and frankly, there are things that you could do that could replicate those issues or replicate that functionality. I just like to see it built into the printer. Other than that, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video.
So it is working, it would just be easier with a Sony.
Fucking lot easier. And to be clear, the only person that it's going to affect is you, because it's going to affect, because literally I'm still recording now. Like, I don't have a choice. I can't stop and start it whenever I want. So, where the fuck?
You're looking for?
I had some kitchen roll in here earlier. I used to be able to wipe the bill plate. I know I had it.
I haven't seen it.
Fuck, that's where that went.